your plans. Let it water your family. Let it water your future. Let it water your destiny. Let it water your purpose. Spring it up, spring it up. Spring it up, spring it up. I've got a river of life flowing out of me. Spring it up, spring it up. Spring it up, spring it up. Spring up, spring up, within my soul. Spring up, that makes me whole. Spring up, spring it up. River of living water. Come on, be refreshed in the presence of the Lord. Be refreshed in the presence of the Lord. You've been giving out for 2 years in a pandemic. But God says seasons of refreshing from the Lord are released to you now. Seasons, times, and seasons of refreshing are released to you now. I release it in your home. I release it in your family. I release it in your business. I release it in your future. I release it over your investments. I release it in your mind. Be refreshed. Be refreshed. Be refreshed in the presence of the Lord.
I believe God to see His goodness in the land of the living. I believe God to see His goodness in the land of the living. I believe God to see His goodness in the land of the living. How about you? How about you? I believe God to see His goodness in the land of the living. I believe God to see His goodness in the land of the living. I believe God to see His goodness in the land of the living. How about you? Not just in the sweet by and by. How about you? Not just in the end, when I wake up in glory, in the here and now. Whatever you're doing, God, don't do it without me. Whatever you're building, God, don't build it without me. I'm gonna be a part of your great master plan. Do it in me. Use me, God. And for those who need a little more, oh, for grace to trust Him more. Oh, for grace just to trust Him more. You're a part of His plan. You just need a little more grace to trust Him more. The vision He gave you is for now. You just need a little more grace to trust Him. Oh, for grace to trust Him more. Come on, everybody, shout it out, say, oh, for grace to trust Him. Oh, for grace. I need a little more grace just to trust You, that whatever You gave me is all I need, God. Oh, grace to trust You. Oh, for grace just to trust You. Come on, one last time. Shout it out real big, everybody sing. Oh, for grace to trust Him. Oh, come on, if you believe God, tell Him, build it in me. Yeah, yeah. If you believe God, tell Him you can do it in me. If you believe God, tell Him you can build it in me. Hallelujah.
Good morning, good morning. We want to trust in Him. It's my great pleasure to introduce our master teacher for the occasion today, Mr. Denzel Washington. If you are as excited as I am, let me hear you. Let me hear you. Mr. Washington began his acting career after graduating from Fordham University with a bachelor's degree in art and drama and journalism. And believe it or not, he also played basketball there under then coach P.J. Colissimo. After graduating, his acting career began on stage, but quickly moved first to television, and then in 1981 to the big screen with his first feature role in the 1981 film Carbon Copy. The ensuing decade brought shape and contour to his career, defining Denzel as a major Hollywood force. We all enjoyed his blockbuster films, such as Spike Lee's Mo Better Blues, The Mighty Quinn, and most importantly, Glory, which brought him his first Oscar, this one for Best Actor as a supporting role. As head of his own production company, Denzel entered the 1990s as a bona fide star, taking on bigger and more prominent roles, projects like Pelican Brief, Crimson Tide, Mississippi Marcella, Malcolm X, remember that? Much Ado About Nothing, and The Bone Collector showed he was not only a talented, but also a box office phenomenon, able to carry big budget films into enormous profit. Few films gained the critical prominence, however, of the Oscar-winning Philadelphia, a groundbreaking drama that about the AIDS epidemic that saw him star in acclaimed performances opposite Tom Hanks, Jason Robards, Antonio Banderas, Joanne Woodward, and others. The year 2002 saw Denzel win his second Oscar, this time for the critical role Training Day, as well as nominations over the next 20 years for his work in Flight, Roman J. Israel, and the incredible masterpiece, Fences. Earlier this year, he was once again nominated for the Best Actor in Leading Role Prize for his star turn in The Tragedy of Macbeth. His career as an actor is nothing short of spectacular. Let's watch the video.
Mastery cannot be taught. It must be built from the ground up. But the right exposure gives you the blueprint. This is the masterclass. What is mastery? Mastery is defining greatness on your own terms.
Oscar goes to Denzel Washington. Denzel Washington in Fences.
I walk a higher path, son.
Mastery is never compromising your craft.
I know the reasons I'm standing here today is for the roles that I didn't do, not so much for the roles that I've done.
Mastery is putting untold stories and voices at the center of culture.
So I have to stand here today as what I was when I was born, a black man.
Mastery is changing the game without letting it change you.
To get something you never had, you have to do something you never did. But do you have the guts to fail?
Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Denzel Washington and Bishop Jakes.
Thank you very much. Come on, let's hear it. Give it up.
I can see it.
Thank you.
You may be seated.
Thank you.
I think there's a whole section of people that didn't come to hear me, they came to see you. I'm going to take you back to many, many occasions you and I have been in conversation. You might not remember this. You're having breakfast, I think we were in Atlanta.
Four Seasons.
At the Four Seasons. He's just sitting there having breakfast like people. And I came down there to have breakfast. I walked past, I thought, is that Denzel Washington? And we entered into a conversation that I sat down and we enjoyed, and we had great fellowship and great fun. And you've always been a very touchable, down-to-earth person who seems to pay little attention to all the tremendous accolades that have been afforded to you. Is that part of the secret sauce that has kept you grounded and added to the longevity of your career, that you did not allow the hype to inflate the way you see yourself?
My mother, God rest her soul, she made it to 97. She just passed this past year. And she owned a beauty shop, a beauty parlor, excuse me.
Okay, a beauty parlor.
She owned a beauty parlor, not a salon, a beauty parlor. And I had done one or two things, and I'm feeling myself. Mm-hmm. And I came in, I said, Ma, did you think all of this was gonna happen? And I was gonna, she said, what did you say? And all the people been praying for you. She started calling me superstar. Uh-huh. So she said, okay, superstar, why don't you grab that bucket and go clean them windows, superstar. When you finish with that, superstar. So I got the message, I got the message.
That grounding is something that's rare today. We see people rise up like Xenos and then crash like nuclear bombs. Mm-hmm. You have the added advantage of looking back over decades and decades of being relevant. Longevity is important to success. When you start talking about longevity, there are many, many people out here who want to have longevity regardless of their profession, whether it is in corporate America, whether it's in the faith realm, whether it's on the stage. Longevity on the stage, I tell people the lights are bright, but the heat is hot.
Yeah.
Okay, it's been hot. It's been hot on that stage. Many, many people who started with you melted. How did you make it?
How did you make it? By the grace of God. I mean, I don't take any credit for it. It's nothing I did as special, been knocked down a few pegs and recognized it, but I just didn't put me first. I just put God first, and He's carried me through the ups and the many downs, the things you hear about and the things you don't hear about. Mm-hmm.
When you think about that, we were at Tyler Perry Studios for the dedication of the Tyler Perry Studios, and we were talking this Sunday morning I talked about the difference between people who walk through a door, which is an opportunity, and other people who turn that door into a platform through which other people are able to access their dreams. Without question, you have had many doors open to you, but you have also created many platforms and introduced to the world many, many talented, gifted people without which your influence would not have happened. You didn't have to go that extra mile to do that. You could have enjoyed the limelight of the door and walked away. Is there a sense of fulfillment that you get out of creating that platform, or is it purely from a business perspective?
I love seeing other people do well. Always have. I grew up in the boys' club, now the Boys and Girls Club, and I was a counselor there, and I came up in the club at first as a camper and then as a counselor, and I always enjoyed seeing other people do well. It's interesting that I ended up in this business where it appears that you're out front. That's not even my nature, actually.
You know, the funny thing about it is when you think about, when the public thinks about you, they think of you as an actor. When I think about you, I think about you not only as an actor and an entertainer, not only as an icon in our community, but I also see you as a businessman, because what the public doesn't realize is that entertainment is a business. And you have been successful not only at acting on screen, which a lot of people do, you have been successful at the business of entertainment. Can you talk to me about the business aspect?
I tell people all the time, they call it show business, they should call it business show. No business, no next show.
Absolutely.
Simple as that.
Explain it.
No business, no next show. And you have to deliver. I mean, it is a business. It's a dollars and cents business, and you have to deliver.
And you have to know your worth. And you have to be able to negotiate from the perspective of knowing your own value. If other people know the value to want you, but you don't know the value to know who you are yourself, it would appear to me it would be quite difficult to be successful if you don't at least have some sense of the equity that has accrued behind your brand, and consequently negotiate from the leverage of understanding that equity. At what point did it hit you that I am worth more than how I'm being handled, and how did you negotiate into the next stream of opportunities without allowing people to prostitute what God had given you?
I'm just that guy, I'm not scared to say no, and you have to say no sometimes, and it's the no's that I've said that have really gotten me, I don't know, wherever I am now professionally. And the money really didn't scare me. I've said it before, you never see a U-Haul behind a hearse. You can't take it with you. Right. No matter, on your last day, it doesn't matter how much money you have. So that the Egyptians tried to take it with them.
Right.
Yeah, all they got was robbed, right?
Right.
So but you can leave it here.
Yeah.
And I'm not just talking about the money. I'm talking about what God has blessed me with. I can leave here, and that's what's important to me, is to, at this point in my life, just to be in that number.
You appear on a lot of platforms. A professor, the president of the college, when he introduced you, began to talk about you started on stage not too long ago. My wife and I flew up to New York and saw you on stage.
Iceman coming?
Caesar.
Oh, Julius Caesar.
Julius.
That was 15 years ago.
Yeah, well.
17 years ago.
Time flies.
Time flies. Yes.
That was just the other day to me now. That's a blur. You walked out on that stage and you were back at home again, back where you started from. Number one, what made you go back to the stage, and was it nostalgic for you to be on that?
Look.
Come back. Yeah, to be on that stage.
More than that, or as much as that, it's the foundation. I had to get back to the, like here on stage, the audience will tell you that night.
Right.
How they feel about you,
Right.
and it's a humbling experience. And I just wanted to get back to the foundation. Between 1990 and 2005, I was doing the best I could to help my wife to raise our kids, and they were at an age where I couldn't leave California for weeks at a time, because you can't commute when you're doing a show on Broadway. So I just chose not to do any plays on Broadway for about 15 years.
When I saw you in New Orleans, yeah, you can clap if you want to. When I saw you, in the car getting ready to leave the hotel in New Orleans. I think you were shooting Safe Room.
Safe House.
Safe House at the time. To me, that was an amazing movie, largely because of the scenes that had no words. My view, the greatest actors I have ever seen are people who can convey messages without script. And you are absolutely amazing at conveying
Well,
an emotion
thank you.
without a script.
You know, people don't understand the hardest thing to do as an actor is to listen. The hardest thing to do as a human being is to listen. So, and to be quiet and actually not do a whole lot.
Right.
You know, we think, oh, the camera's on, I gotta
You're
act it up. Less is actually more.
Less is actually more.
Less is more.
Please write that down. Because
Less is more.
one of the big mistakes that I think that church actors make is that they go overboard. The real pros understand that less is more.
If it feels good to you, it probably isn't any good. That's the truth. If you feeling so good about yourself, then you're too self-aware.
Yeah.
So you're probably not as good as you think because you're too busy thinking, ooh, look at, yeah, I'm acting now.
That's funny, and it shows. It shows to the audience. I was sitting there screaming at the TV set because I was just mesmerized. In fact, I teased you about it. I told you that you died so well that I was ready to commit your body to the ground in that scene.
In Safe House?
Yes.
You know what? That's my favorite death of mine.
You died, Negro. You died.
That and Training Day. Those are two of my favorite deaths.
I started saying ashes to ashes, and for as much as it's dearly beloved. The brother was dead, okay? This guy died for like 5 minutes. He just died. I see people die all the time. I thought he was dead. I got my robe. I got my sash, and I started to force my sin as a dearly departed brother is passed from death. He was gone. And you said to me at the time, you said I died too well. Now they're trying to do a sequel and they can't get me
Yes,
back.
right.
And we laughed about it, and we talked about it. It was an amazing thing. When you think of Antoine Fisher, you introduce.
Thank you.
What was amazing, not only did you produced it, you directed it, you brought new talent to the stage that we had not known. I think he delivered one of his greatest performances up under your direction.
Talking about Derek Luke?
Derek Luke.
And people don't realize a young woman in there by the name of Viola Davis.
Listen, I was coming back.
Oh, you was getting there? I'm sorry.
I realized Viola Davis got her start playing his mother. She plays his mother in a brief scene in that.
No lines.
No lines. But
No, she has one line. You want something to eat?
Yeah.
That's all she says. You want something to eat?
But can't nobody outcry Viola Davis. Listen, baby girl can cry until she can cry till I start crying. I don't even know what I'm crying about. How did you cast those two unheard of people and then direct them in a way that you got the best out of them? Because now the reason I ask this question, whether you are in film or interested in entertainment, this is really about how do you get the best out of the people you choose in the positions you hold. So don't just listen from an entertaining aspect, but from an informational aspect to understand how do you choose people who are going to play a role in your organization, A, and B, how do you get the best out of them should help every leader, every pastor, every manager, every entrepreneur in this room, because some of the time we suffer because we got the wrong cast, we hired the wrong people. Some of the times we suffer because we have the right people, but we lack the ability to get the best out of them. You have to do both of them in order to be successful. Teach us how to do that.
Get out of the way. It's hard. That's easy to say, but hard to do. I can't play the part. Derek played the part. Viola played the part. Sometimes we want to do it all. Get out of the way. You know, get out of the way.
That's a modest answer. I'm not going to let you off that easy.
Okay.
Because anybody can get out of the way. We can get out of the way. We can get out of the way. I understand that you are saying not to try to make the actor be you, but that ignores the fact that you had to select somebody who had that thing in them. How do you look at someone and see in them things that has yet to be unearthed out of them?
When I'm casting, I always tell the casting people, I only need one. I only needed one Viola Davis. I didn't need 10. So, and I know it when I see it. And I know it when I haven't seen it. So when it walks in the room, then when she walked in the room, I knew. So, and I knew.
So it's a gut thing. It's an instinct thing more than I look for this, and this. There's just
it's not a checklist.
Okay.
No, it's not a checklist. You know, I think I know what good acting is.
Yeah, you got to know what good acting is. You got to know what you're looking for, which is a note worth taking. You got to know what you're looking for, because I think a lot of times we don't know what we're looking for. We're interviewing people, but we know the job description, we know the title, but we don't know the temperament, the talent, and how well they will fit into the continuity of our organization. So we hire people who have the right education, but they are toxic in the organization. Are you hearing what I'm saying? You have to know what the temperament is that you're looking for. Again, you'll know it when you see it, but whether you know it or not, you are casting in your office, in your church, in your choir, in your leadership. Anybody can come in the congregation, I don't care. But whoever's going to be on the team, I already know what temperament of person I need in that team, and I'm not just looking at their bio, I'm looking at their body language, their personality, their work ethic, how congenial they are with people, how sensitive they are. I don't need a drama queen running a conference. I don't need you creating problems. I need you solving problems. And so I can clearly delineate what I'm looking for in an individual. He has a list of criteria that he's saying that he knows in his head that he's looking for in the actor, and that he will know it when he sees it. You cannot regulate that over to somebody else.
Nelson Mandela said, a leader, like a shepherd, sends the fast, nimble sheep out front so that the rest will follow, not realizing they're all being led from behind. So a leader leads quietly from behind. You know, you don't have to jump out front, and I don't have to outact everybody, and we want to do it all.
Yeah.
Don't get out the way. Let me show you. You know, and,
Yeah.
But that was pretty good advice from Mr. Mandela.
Yeah, I would think so. I would think so. He certainly proved to be a great leader. When you start thinking about August Wilson, the body of his work, the magnitude of his impact on the Broadway stage, off-Broadway stage, at a time that Black people were not being recognized, the body of his work ended up in your hands, of which Fences is one deposit. What made you make give it up for Fences. What made you make the decision to buy the body of his work, or to own the body?
The family came to me.
The family came.
Yeah, his widow, Costanza, said, we'd like you to take care of August's plays for us and make films. I said, I'm just the man for the job, you know, so that's what I'm doing.
What made you give that answer?
Because it's the truth. What did somebody say once? Said, you're not conceited, you convinced, huh?
Yeah.
I'm not bragging. I mean, I was the right one in the right place at the right time with the right power in the right position to get things done. you know.
And you got them done.
I'm getting them done. I'm getting them done. With
One by one, you're getting them done. And then, what made you make the decision to keep so much of his original cast and take them from the stage to the screen? These are decisions. What I'm asking him is, how do you make decisions? Because that has a lot to do with defining the success of your leadership. How do you make decisions? And some people hold positions but delegate decisions.
Say that again. Some
people hold positions but delegate decisions.
Okay.
And while I want everybody's input into the decision, my style of leadership, the final decision is going to be mine. Okay, I welcome your input. I'm not a dictator. I want to hear your input, and I will adjust my decision if your information shifts the outcome. But at the end of the day, I don't want people making decisions that I have to live with. Because at the end of the day, it's not going to be your name in the paper, it's going to be mine.
That's correct.
And I want to know,
That's correct.
Am I right about it?
Yeah, yes, you are.
They're not going to write about your staff, they're going to write about you. And they're not going to attack your staff, they're going to attack you. They don't know the name of your staff, they're going to come after you. And so you want to you want to hire people that are smart enough that they bring you brilliant ideas, but you have to decide, are those brilliant ideas worth the consequences of those ideas? In my world, that's how I do it. In your world, what made you make the decision to keep these people who had never been on screen, as far as I know, had always been on stage, and yet you brought them on stage? And then I'm going to tell you what they told me about you.
You talking about fences now?
Fences. I'm sticking on the fence, bro.
Well, because they were great actors. Viola Davis, Stephen McKinley Henderson, Michael T. Williams, they were all great actors. And I'm loyal. You know, we got the success that we had on stage together. Why should I now we had to recast the little girl, because she you know, and one other part, because the kid grew up, but
they do that.
yeah, they do that. They got it.
Yeah.
Funny how that works, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Relieving, actually.
They keep coming back though.
Yeah. Mine are here, so I won't comment. Now, you brought them to the stage. I interviewed them while I was doing a talk show in Hollywood. This is what they told me about you. They told me that you were as much a director, producer, as you were a pastor. They said you started every morning
of course.
with prayer.
Right.
They said they were spiritually enriched up under your leadership because of your consciousness of God.
Well, thank you.
Now look, I've been on the set a few times myself, not nearly what you've done. But it is not normal to start the day with prayer.
It's not.
No.
No, I didn't hear what you said.
It's not normal to start the day with prayer.
Well, I don't know what other people do, but
I mean on the set. I'm not talking about in your personal life.
Yeah.
To have the boldness of faith to bring a crew together and say, let's pray before we start. I'm not seeing a lot of people do that in Hollywood.
Or where are we? What town we in? Or in Charlotte. For that, you know, it's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah, or in Charlotte.
People talk about Hollywood like it's a place where evil things happen. Los Angeles is a city.
Yeah.
There's no place called Hollywood. We don't all get together and have Hollywood meetings. And
Yeah.
Hollywood is a street in Los Angeles. I'm in the movie business.
Right.
I'm not in the Hollywood. I don't even know what the Hollywood business is.
Right.
I don't know how to do that. I make movies. I do plays. I direct and act.
That being said, and that is absolutely true, and I've been on both sides of the street. I don't demonize what is called quote unquote Hollywood. I'm just saying in the course of doing business, not every person in business brings the cast together and has prayer.
True.
That doesn't happen. Why does that happen with you?
Because I was raised right. I don't know. You know, my father was a minister.
I know your father was a minister.
Father was a minister.
He's a PK, y'all. Give it up, PKs.
Church of God in Christ.
Church of God in Christ.
Yeah. My mother grew up in, folks not old enough, Kelly Temple in New York City. Okay. My mother grew up in that church, and
see you at home.
I see.
Evidently, being raised in the faith, you still are involved in the faith. You still have been a loyal supporter of West Angeles. You've done some amazing things down through the years. You have helped Bishop Blake in amazing ways. You have helped many people start and launch their careers. You have financed historically black colleges. You have been extremely philanthropic. You have a different rhythm in your soul. Is that coming from your faith?
That's sad that you say that, have to even say that, because that's what we all should do.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be. There's nothing exceptional about.
Should. Emphasis on the word should. But you know, without sitting here talking to me, that is exceptional, that very few people have the kind of temperament, especially that lasts that long and started that young. We have not seen you. We've seen you do sexy scenes, but we have not seen your body. You have not prostituted yourself in any film at any time.
Oh, you haven't seen all the movies then. You ain't seen.
Yeah.
A couple of them you ain't seen.
I saw you down to your drawers, but I don't recall. Okay, let's keep it real.
I did a little bumping and grinding. I did a little.
Yeah, you did a little bumping and grinding, but you never, yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Edit this out the tape.
Yeah.
But we're gonna keep it real for a minute. You didn't put your everything out there, let me say it like that,
Right.
to get a role. Why didn't you, and are you glad you didn't?
I had a mentor in college my senior year when I really just started acting, and he talked to me about never having to compromise, you know, myself, and I remembered that wasn't necessary, and I got that guy. I mean, I've just been blessed beyond measure. I found out early in college that I had this unique ability. So, and things that were happening in my life, I don't know if some people maybe have heard me talk about a woman prophesied. When I was 20 years old, she said, boy, you're gonna travel the world and preach to millions of people. She didn't say you're gonna be famous. She didn't say you're gonna win Oscars. She didn't say any of those things. She said, you know, you are going to travel. By the way, I was flunking out of college. I had a 1.7 grade point average. I was in my mother's beauty shop, and the reason I was in her beauty shop was because I was not in school. I was not in school that semester. And this woman, Miss Ruth Green, had this prophecy that is coming true.
It's coming true.
It's coming true.
I talked to you on the phone, and I told you that I believe that you have something down inside of you beyond acting, from a spiritual perspective, that is awakening. If you agree with that, tell us what that feels like. And that has shown up in your work. It has shown up off camera. What is evolving in you now from a spiritual perspective?
It's just that, it's evolving. You know, I remember talking to Bishop Blake years ago. I said, well, you know, should I become a preacher? Should I? He said, no, you have your pulpit. You know, and use it. So I do have everybody talks about a platform. I got a pretty, I guess, big platform or whatever you call it.
He got a pretty big
Yeah, so I try to use it for good. Use it for good.
Use it for good. Warren Buffett says that if a man toward the autumn of his life, and this is a poor quote of it, but it's pretty close, has still maintained the respect and love of the people who matter most, he is a successful man. You live and work in an industry where the falling apart of the home is the headlines of the week, and people swip and swap in relationships all the time. It is a very difficult thing to be who you are and still be a father and still be a husband. And yet somehow you have been graced that the people who matter most still respect you. Tell us how.
I have a great wife. That's the answer.
Listen, bro.
I have a great, listen, my wife is from right here, North Carolina. She was a child prodigy. She was the Van Cliburn competitor, one of the world's best young pianists at 9 years old. She was the first black woman that was supposed to be Miss North Carolina at a time when they couldn't let a black person be. She had gotten whatever, Miss Runner-Up or First Runner-Up. They couldn't even let her be First Runner-Up because if Miss North Carolina fell out, she couldn't go to all the places in this state.
Wow.
Yeah. So her father was an educator. They had one of the top, this was back in segregation, before integration, they had one of the top schools in North Carolina, the top debating team. One of the best schools in North Carolina was an all-black school from Newton, North Carolina.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think that's such a great answer. It's one that I can really relate to. Having a great wife has a lot to do with whether you make it through the storm. And it's always nice when she's cute, but it's not nice when she's cute and not great.
Got a witness somewhere in there.
So a word up to the fellas, a lot of times you have more emphasis on cute than great, but what makes the relationship sustainable is great rather than cute. And I think that one of the problems that we have with longevity is that it is expensive to be a great woman. In a world where women spend billions of dollars looking cute, it is more expensive to be a great woman because a great woman absorbs a lot of shock, a lot of sorrow, a lot of pain. A great woman bites her tongue. At times that other women speak their mind. It is expensive to be a great woman to know when to speak and when to shut up and go the other way. A lot of women who started clapping when he said that you have to really do inventory. Is he talking about you? Because I really do think a lot of the credit goes to holding things together. It's unfair, it's probably not right, but it still is true to having a great woman. We come up sometimes and get the bow, but really, the woman is the glue, at least in my house. Sarita is the glue. She is the glue and the staples and the safety pins and the stitches and everything else. I kid you not. I kid you not.
My wife is consistent.
Yes, consistent.
Consistent. She made breakfast every morning for the children. They had a little Bible study every morning.
Yep.
She drove them to school every morning. So she, when I was out running, making the movies, killing the lion and bringing the meat home, here, cook that. yeah, cook that. But she was doing the
It might be our generation, but I could say that I could take your statement and put it right on Sarita, having prayer with the kids every morning, making sure everybody got something to eat, and still doing her day, and still doing her thing, and still building her business, and still went back and got her degree, and still supportive of me, and still got her hair done. You have to be a bad woman to be a great woman, multi-talented. In fact, a great woman is a corporation in one person. She is a corporation all by herself. If you are a great woman, you are a corporation. Whether you start a business or not, you are a complete corporation. Give yourselves a hand if you think you're a great woman.
And let me say this to the guys. For the guys out there, you got to have vision to see potential. Instead of, well, it ain't working right now, let me go over here.
Right.
Let me go over here, let me go over here. You know, my wife's pedigree. Come on. Her pedigree, you know, she raised me up out the ghetto a little bit. You know, I had one foot in the street. You know? So it's a balance. It's a balance.
Tell the truth, shame the devil. I'm with you.
No, I was throwing rocks at the penitentiary now.
Yeah.
No question.
The thing about it is, at different stages of life, you raise each other.
Right.
At different stages of life, you parent your partner, depending on what is going on at that particular moment. And people have given up on parenting their partner because it has become popular to replace rather than to develop. But look, let's get to the good stuff, man. You just came back from the Oscars. I cannot sit here and act like what happened didn't happen.
What happened now?
Yeah. You just came back from the Oscars, and congratulations, and hats off and kudos and all of that. But I got to ask you right now, Pastor Washington, you stepped in the middle of World War III. We were looking at Ukraine, and it happened on the Oscars when Will, who I love, smacked Chris, who I love. You came in as a senior statesman into that situation. Now, don't let me tell you about it. You tell me, what happened? What happened? What happened? To these icons, these legends got into a fight in front of the world. What happened? It wasn't a fight. It was just one person slapping the taste out of the other one's mouth.
Well, there's a saying, when the devil ignores you, then you know you're doing something wrong. Wait a minute, I'm not done now. You know, the devil goes, oh no, leave him alone. Hey, he's my favorite.
Right.
Don't you bother him.
Yeah.
Conversely, when the devil comes at you, maybe it's because you're trying to do something right. And for whatever reason, the devil got a hold of that circumstance, that night. And fortunately, there were people there, not just me, but others in the gap. Tyler Perry came immediately right over there with me, and some prayers, you know, keep it. I don't want to say what we talked about, but there but for the grace of God, go any of us.
Yeah.
You know, who are we to condemn? You know, I don't know all the ins and outs of the situation, but I know the only solution was prayer. The way I saw it, the way I see it.
You know, the irony of all of that, and the embarrassing truth of all of that is this. You had a scandalous situation to happen at a momentous occasion, and then two or three icons who are senior statesmen highly respected in the industry didn't tweet about it. I hate to hear people talk and tweet to people they can call on the phone. And here we see actors acting more pastoral than some preachers do, than some church people do.
Uh-oh.
Because we would have been so busy talking about it, nobody would have actually went to them and prayed with them. Really? How many people do that? And if you do go pray with somebody who's in scandal, then they start talking about you. Irrespective of that, what is that thing in you that understood that you had the gravitas and or the responsibility to restore? And even now, in the way that you talk about them retaining and protecting their respect rather than denigrating them. That says a whole lot. Look, I gotta take a minute and get up and clap for you, because that is so rare. That's so rare to find.
Is it really?
That is, yes.
That's
That is rare to find. Most people grin in your face, stab you in the back, wait till you get down, stomp on top of you, pass the headlines on to all of your peers and say, have you heard about Jakes? They drive you into the dirt. And I think one of the reasons we are so alone in this world is that we find it difficult to feel safe with those who call themselves our friends. And so we withdraw into capsules of safety because alienation feels more warm than congregation. Am I right? It's amazing. You talked about earlier about them demonizing Hollywood, and you all just acted more like church than what church does in how you handled him, not discrediting either one of them, but praying for both of them that they would have the restoration. I share your view about it. I think there is too much inside of both of them to throw either of them away. Good people make bad choices, and we all do it, but if you get caught on camera doing it, they kill you for things. The public kills you for things that they themselves have been guilty of without any reservation at all. As a restorer, how much of who you are as a person assists you as who you are in a film? How much of that comes with you to the character, your core, your ethics, your value? How much of that comes with you to the business when you're doing business? Or am I talking to 5 different people?
What was the last part?
Or am I talking to 5 different people?
Well, I try to leave the pronouns out of it. I and what, you know. What was the question again? How much of that is?
Yeah, how much of that? I mean, I'm a Gemini. My wife says there's 10 of us. I say I'm down to 2, but I'm in therapy. I'll get rid of the other one in a minute. But how much of who you are affects what you do? Let me say it like that.
I don't know. I mean, I don't examine myself.
Really?
No, I don't, you know, I know where I got it from. I know what I'm supposed to do with it, and that's good enough for me. I don't keep notes or, you know, talk to myself and too much about. I try to get out of the way.
You try to get out?
I try to get out of the way. Yeah. You know, man goes down to the ocean.
Okay.
Tries to fit all the knowledge of the ocean into his little brain instead of just jumping in the water and enjoying himself. Faith is jumping in the water. Ego is, if I don't understand it, it doesn't exist. To think we can reduce everything to our level of understanding is ego on steroids. How dare any of us? I know what's best. Oh, really? Okay. Good luck.
Yeah. You know, 3 times since we've been talking, you have said, get out of the way.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
And if I had to entitle this talk, this masterclass, I would have to call it Get Out of the Way. And that is so simple and yet so profound and yet so difficult to do. Because often we worship at the shrine of our own point of view.
Say that again. We worship at the shrine of our own point of view.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. He gonna be impressed with something I said. Oh, come on now, give me a break. But really, I do think that is idolatry at its highest form. It's to think that the way that you see it is the way that it is. What I try to do with my life is to understand your perspective. While other people talk about what you do, I always wonder why. I always want to empathize even with my enemy to make sure that my enemy is not a friend in disguise or somebody who has been hurt in such a way that they react in a way that yes, wounded me, but not intentionally. I try not to smack a patient.
Pastor A.R. Bernard talks about that when people come to him or come at him or at anyone with anger.
Yeah.
First thing he asks is, who hurt you?
Yeah.
Because that's usually where it...
He's brilliant, by the way.
Yeah, that's my man.
Yeah, he's brilliant. Who hurt you? That is not generally the first thing we ask when we are offended. But it might be a good takeaway to take with you from this meeting. Instead of deciding, I don't deal with her, I don't like him, I can't stand them, they're ignorant, they're stupid, they're hateful, they're demonic. Maybe the first question to ask is, who hurt you? Because I think it's easier to love things you understand. And if you can begin to understand the other person's perspective, it changes how you pray for them, it changes how you handle them, and it most importantly leaves the door open. The most amazing thing, I'm gonna preach to you a minute, the most amazing thing about the prodigal son story to me is not the prodigal son. I know what it is to drift away. I also know what it is to be the elder brother and stay and feel ignored. I stayed in one ministry for 7 years and only preached twice, and my big job was to clean the baptism pools. So I understand the elder brother, I understand the prodigal son, because I have gone on a few adventures in my life. I'll keep them to myself, but I have. But the star of the text is the father, because he left the door open for the son to come home. And I find very few people in life leave the door open for change. You have, in a lot of ways, left the door open for other people to come behind you, for other people to experience change, for other people to have careers. You talked about the level of training that you have, I talked about the level of training, the scholarships that you've given to other people that created massive careers. His name escapes me right now, the guy who played in Black Panther that everybody...
Chad.
Yeah.
It's interesting you mentioned that, because I was about to tell a story about
Tell
that.
everybody.
No, I was on Broadway, and they had a screening of Black Panther. So I told Ryan Coogler, the director, that I was going to come. So I snuck in because I didn't want to deal with the red carpet. I'm a low-key person. I don't take pictures and all that. So I went in the back way, and Ryan Coogler and Chad were there talking. And he's like, "Oh, you're just the person I wanted to see." I said, "Yeah, I wanted to see you too," because he owed me some money. But but when I sat in the audience, and watched that film, I understood that the baton had been passed. You know, I looked at I said, boy, these young boys are gone.
Yeah.
To the tune of $1 billion that movie ended up making. I said, they're gone. Now, you know, when you run a relay race and you hand the baton off, you don't stop. as soon as you hand it off, you run behind the person. So I handed it off, and I'm running behind him, but I know I'm not going to make it all the way around the track.
Yeah.
Now, none of us knew that
That's good.
that Chad wasn't.
That's good right there. That's good right there. That's good right there.
That's good right there?
Oh, that's good right there. Man, I'm ready to go over and throw $20 on the altar because of that.
But I had to, when I watched the movie, I had to shed a tear. I mean, I sat there and I shed a tear. I'm like, man, these young boys are gone.
Yeah.
You know, not make anything out of myself, but Sydney took it a certain distance. I took it a certain distance. And now, they gone.
Yeah.
They gone.
And I think
And my son's one of them.
yeah.
Yeah, my son is one of them.
Yeah. That's the greatest feeling in the world. When you
And my daughter, remember I said so.
Yeah.
Olivia Washington, just remember I said so.
Yeah.
His sister.
To be at this stage now and not be jealous. To be at this stage and not be envious. To be at this stage and be glad to see younger men and women coming up and grabbing that baton while you are yet running. You are not angry or jealous or competing with them. You're kind of running to make sure they're okay. Go on. I enjoy coaching who's next more than being who's next. Yeah.
Me too.
You too.
Me too.
That stage, I find, is not always prevalent in our generation because some in our generation are still wrestling with who am I outside of what I do? And if I am not this, then I don't see a role, but I see a clear path. I'm happy to be Timothy's Paul. I'm happy to be Ruth's Naomi. I'm happy to be Elisha's Elijah because I know what it is to be young and run and have no one to talk to and have no safe place to lay your head and have nobody to pull me over into the corner and say, don't slap nobody on stage. Did you see them? You need somebody, and you're not really a father until you care enough to chew me out. And you're not really a son until you can be chewed out and still come back to my arms and understand father love doesn't sound like mama love. And we have a generation of people who have been raised to the tune of a mama love. And anytime you say something harsh, they see you as an enemy and react and fight you rather than to understand. It takes energy to care. It takes energy to argue. It takes energy to confront you. You could have sat in your seat at the Oscars and let that go down, but you got out of your seat. And
No, I couldn't have sat in my seat.
Huh?
No way I could have sat in my seat.
No way you can sit in your seat. Tell me why.
That's just not who I am.
It's not who you are.
No, it's not.
And that's exactly my point.
Okay.
That you just proved my point. That's not who I am. You understand who you are and you're comfortable enough in your own skin that you're concerned when another runner trips. That's exactly my point. First of all, it's good to see you.
Good to be seen by you. Friend of mine used to say that. I used to love that. Anytime somebody would say, good to see you, so good to be seen by you.
Yeah, it is good. It's good to see you. After the Oscars, after all the stuff you went through, after everything you handled, to jump on a plane, to fly out here on the red eye with no sleep and come up on the stage to talk to a group of people that you don't need and you didn't have to is absolutely stellar. I want to thank you for that.
This is the, I don't know if I said it up when I was up here. Man gives the award, God gives the reward.
Yeah.
This is the reward for me.
Really?
You know, awards are good, but this is better. This is food for me.
Good. It's food for us. Is it not food for us? I am going to put you on the spot. I hope it doesn't put you on the spot, really. but I'm going to put you on the spot, and I'll only ask you to do this because you do it every morning for your cast and your crew. I'm going to ask you to close this.
Let's bow our heads. Let's bow our heads. Dear Father in heaven, we thank you. We know that to whom much is given, much is expected, much is required. And we know that you require from each and every one of us our undivided love for you. You are our beacon of light in this darkness. And we say thank you and thank you and thank you and thank you and thank you, not just for what you've done, but what you are going to do, what we can't see. Thank you for guiding our steps. Thank you for protecting us when we're getting here and when we leave here today. Just thank you for all that you've done. And I pray and I know that out there in this audience, I just feel the people in this audience, Lord. I feel them, Lord. I feel them, Lord. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. I feel them, Lord, and I know that I know you want to touch them all. I pray that something we set up here touches them and makes their relationship with you stronger, better, tighter.
Yes, Lord.
More loving. These things we ask in your Son's name, and we pray, and we know, and we thank you. Amen.
Amen. You just got prayed for by the one and only Denzel Washington. Come on.
Well,
thank you, my friend.
it's my pleasure. My pleasure.
Someday, sometime, somewhere, if life lasts and death pass, please come back.
If life lasts
and death pass. And my mama's from Alabama, so I got a lot of old folks sayings.
So we got 4 minutes.
Okay.
Somebody wants to ask a question.
Let's do that.
Who's got a question? Raise your hand. Yes.
Let's put a mic on him.
Just yell. My next one. When people ask me what my favorite movie is, I always say my next one, because it's the process that I enjoy. Once I made the movie, I look at it one time and it's in my rearview mirror. So, yes.
Right here. Right in front of you.
Oh, okay, yes.
Hi, my name's Kisha. I have a question. In business, it takes discipline. What is it like for you when you prepare? What discipline do you go through? What's your process?
In everything, it takes discipline.
Yes, it does. So explain to us, what are your steps? Oftentimes when we're here, we're in these conferences, and we're given so much information. Sometimes we need to know steps. We're all in different places. What does that look like for you?
Well, where are you? You said we're all in different places. Where are you?
So I have an 8-year company. I have a luxury dessert brand. And I've gone through different cycles of funding. And at each step, I've learned that there's more funding available, and I've learned different things. But sometimes I wondered, why didn't I know this before? Being around the people that I was around, did I not ask the right questions? Did I not get better insight? And so I'm learning to ask questions differently and to seek understanding differently and to not be afraid to ask questions differently.
You answered your own question. Keep doing that. What was the question?
My question is, again, because I like to know about people's processes in different industries, because you learn things no matter what industry you're in. I learn from what your discipline may be. You may be like, I go into a place and I do this.
Yeah, but what's the question?
The question is that. What is the thing that you do to prepare yourself? What disciplines do you have in place as you go into different roles, as you're doing different things? Is there a set way that you do that when you're going to each movie, or does it change?
It changes. Yeah, it always changes. You know, preparation for Macbeth, I'm just talking about movies, preparation for Macbeth is completely different than preparation for Training Day. So, you know. Yes.
My question is,
I can't see. Where?
right here, right in front of you. This question is for you and Bishop. As a black father raising women of the future, what do you tell them to guide them, but not too hard on them because of the experience you went through?
You go first.
I'm speechless. When it comes to my daughters, I'm different. I was speechless there, right? I started.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'll go first. I don't raise my daughters any differently than I raise my sons. I try not to stereotype them because in so doing you incarcerate them. I did not raise them to be wives or mothers. I raised them to be great. And if along the course of being great they become wives or mothers, that's God's business and theirs. I raised them in case there were no men, that they would have the strong fortitude inside of themselves to stand on their own, even if tears are running down their face, and understand that the greatness that is inside of her is not predicated on who stands beside her. That's the way I raised my daughter. I raised my daughters to think. Not just to twist, not just to be cute, not just to be fine, not to be gorgeous. Back then they were singing that song, Shake Your Money Maker. And whenever they sung it, I shook my head.
Let me sit down. Wow. Well, yes. Where's, I can't see.
He wants one more. We'll do two more overtime. Two more.
Okay. Denzel.
Here we are.
Wait a minute. How do you come back here? What? Okay, she says, how do you combat fear at each level set?
Fear is nothing but contaminated faith.
Yeah, let me hear you. Let me hear you.
Shook him up with that one, huh?
Hold up. Listen.
In a day and time like now, how do you take your relationship with God and still be yourself while enjoying life only to make Jesus famous without being condemned by your friends, family, church family, to be isolated all alone with just you and your daughters, with no, I don't want to reach out to anybody because I want to see if God gonna be real for real. And he has been. So how do you blend being you, sharing God, having fun, and just making him famous? How do you do all that without being shunned, ridiculed, and isolated?
You can't. Come back here. Jump. This is what is killing us. We are too emotionally dependent on the opinions of the people around us in order to be successful. We are the weepingest, saddest, sorrowful people because we want validation, and yet we want to be creative. Most great people are lauded more after they're dead than they are when they are alive. Get used to the controversy. You can't throw a rock in a pond and not make waves. The better question is, why do I need their assurance and acceptance in order to live my life? I came here by myself. I'm going to die by myself. And I really don't give a flip what anybody else. I'm sorry.
I guess that's it.
That's it. We love y'all.
And we out.
And we out. You got a 30-minute break, and then I've got the summary message for this year's ILS. I'll see you in 30 minutes.
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You were phenomenal. Thank you.
I'm trying.